my unique take is me, which is the most cliche thing I could have said. Hi, I'm Jessie, the sleepy koala, because I am perpetually tired and Australian. Yay me! Today, I wanted to do the Booktuber Newbie Tag because I have seen quite a number of videos around. I am brand new to Booktube. This is only my second video, and it sounds like a lot of fun to answer questions, and I do like tags, so let's get into it. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? I started this channel because I am trying to get into more book series than what I currently read. I'm a very big rereader, but I do want to try and branch out a little bit more. And this year I have been doing that more, trying to read new books, get into new series, new authors, but I also want people to talk to about these books. And I'm in current communities where I can talk to people about things, but everyone's reading things a bit differently and in different circles, and Booktube is obviously the same, but I thought it might be nice to try and directly talk to people about things that I'm reading that other people have found these videos and decided, hey, I'm reading that, or I want to read that, let's have a chat. And I love that community aspect of it. And ultimately, I started Booktube because I want to talk to people and I want to gush over books with them and have discussions about why we didn't like things and see different tastes and just get a bigger community that I can be in that loves books and loves the books I'm reading and that I can get recommendations from and give recommendations to. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I feel like a lot of the stuff on Booktube that I want to talk about is already here, but what I can do is bring my perspective to things, and everyone's going to read a book differently. Everyone's going to like different things, dislike other things, have very different tastes, and even though there can be similarities across different booktubers, everyone's going to be their own unique self in the opinions that they're giving across. And I just want to give those opinions as well. I guess my unique take is me, which is the most cliche thing I could have said. Okay. Also, to try and save myself a bit, I'm Australian and I don't think I've seen many other Australian booktubers, so I guess that's unique as well. Question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? The community aspect of it? I really want to talk to people. Please come talk to me. Tell me what you do and don't like about the books you are reading, about the books I put up. Let's have a chat and share recommendations, all that jazz. But I'm also excited just to have a medium where I'm able to really try and get my thoughts together about books and what I think of them. I've been trying to do Goodreads reviews since the start of the year, and that has kind of helped, particularly because I can go back and forth with adding things to it if I forget things. But I found doing the Six of Crows review that I put out before this video, I really was able to tighten up what I wanted to talk about and talk about it in a way that I just can't get across very well in written prose. So I like having medium that's forcing me to organize my thoughts and then be verbose about them, because I'll talk to my husband about things and we'll have great in-depth discussions about books, and I have the thoughts like, why didn't I film that? I could have filmed that and that would have made like great content that maybe someone else would have enjoyed, because he really enjoys listening to me, so maybe someone else does. Question 4. What do you love about reading? I love the friends that you make in a book. Also the friends you make outside of books. I'm a very character-focused reader. And when I read, I get very attached to characters to the point that they are the only thing dragging me through this story. And I'll end up loving a book. But if it wasn't for a particular character, I might not have finished the book. But even then, it's the characters generally that make me want to reread things. I want to go back to a world where these friends I've made are there and I can read what they are doing, their stories all over again, to the point where I've read a series and immediately gone back to the start and read it again, because I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm not ready to leave that world, those people in it, the emotions and relationships that they have. I do love other parts of books as well, like world building, plot. They're great, but the characters are why I read. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? So I don't know how to answer this question because I've been reading since I can remember. I remember my mum reading to me as a very small child, just children's books. And I've never really stopped reading until I took a bit of a break between the end of high school, start of university. But I wouldn't say that I got into reading after that because I was always a reader. I've been racking my brain trying to remember just what the earliest book that I can remember reading is, and I've come up with two things. One of them is Disney books. They used to put out these hardcover picture books of all the Disney movies, and I had like 8 of them, and I loved them. And I think I was first grade, maybe. I know my mom used to read them to me before I could read because there was pretty pictures that I could look at while she read to me. I know I kept them for ages and just continued to read them. And then the other books that I remember from early childhood, was I had these Pokemon books that, again, were just the Pokemon television series in book form. And I remember having one about their journey in the Orange Islands, and I would read it in primary school. I think I must have been 2nd or 3rd grade. But those are the 2 earliest things I remember reading. And I guess because I've never really considered myself not a reader since then, they're probably the things that got me into it. I know that Harry Potter was the introduction to fantasy that I had, but it's pretty spotty, those early years. But those are the first 2 I remember. Oh God, I have to thank Disney for getting me into reading. I'm not actually sure how I feel about this. But if we then fast forward all the way to when I picked books back up in university after I started having more time and also was no longer scarred from being forced to read a bunch of books that I didn't like in high school, I went back to Cassandra Clare's books and started with the Dark Artifices book because the second one, Lord of Shadows, had just come out. So I figured might as well reread the first one, read the second one, and go from there. And it kickstarted everything. Just giant snowball rolling down the hill. Because I read those 2, I went back and reread all of the Cassandra Clare books, start to finish, and then started working my way through the bookshelf and spending a lot of money at the local Dimmicks in my area to buy a lot more books in the series that I hadn't kept up with. So it was definitely the YA genre that pulled me back in once I started rereading again in university after taking like 2-3 years off, I think. Question 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? This is going to be a really boring answer because all the questions I would have are technical, along the lines of how do you stop shaky cameras if you are filming outside and moving around? And how do you deal with really long processing times for HD versions of your video? Because I was very confused trying to upload my first video, even though my husband has literally been uploading YouTube videos for years for a Brandon Sanderson podcast, Shardcast, and we couldn't figure it out. So all of my questions would be along those lines, which are very boring to an audience, I think, but very helpful to someone when they're like sitting in front of the camera or editing. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Social anxiety, I would probably say, which is a bit of a strange answer when I am sitting in a room by myself with all my stuff to crochet and literally no one else around because my husband's not even in the house. But I feel really anxious doing this and I'm hoping that goes away or gets at least a little bit easier to deal with. The other issue or worry that I have is making sure that I keep motivation to keep doing this because this is fun and I really enjoy editing. That's actually also, I guess that's part of why I decided to finally try and do this, but I don't want to accidentally front load everything and burn myself out. So it's just the making sure I can keep motivation to keep making videos like this and interacting with people over the long haul, which I think I can do. I think that will be okay. But it is one of those doubts that's just like wiggling in the back of my head right there. So I realized while editing that I was actually completely incorrect and question 9 I haven't actually answered yet. So just popping in quickly to actually give the answer to question 9, which was, where do you read? And the answer to that is varied because I read in a lot of different places. I have this fantastic blue armchair in both my study and also in my living room. They are comfy, they are huge. I can pretty much curl up in a ball and lie down in them. Very good for reading. Fantastic reading chair. I also read in bed a lot. I often need to lie down or take naps during the day because I have a severe lack of energy and I like to try and read when I can. It's not all the time because, again, lack of energy. Don't really have the mental fortitude to read. But when I can, I really like reading in bed. I've also started reading while playing with my new kittens. They are so cute. There's 2 little new kittens, one that's mostly white, the other is mostly black. brother and sister named Aona and Sky from the Brandon Sanderson universe, The Cosmere. They're very cute. But I've started reading with them where my husband and I are currently keeping them because we don't want them throughout the whole house yet to not overwhelm them. And I'll just lie there and they'll come and curl up on me, and it's so cute. Or I'll put on an audiobook while I'm playing with them or while I'm feeding them so I can listen to something in the background. It's been really great. So there's the answer to question 9. It is long-winded and a multivariable answer. So I'm actually going to skip questions 8 and 9 because I basically answered them when I was talking about why I got into reading. So skipping 8 and 9. Question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I primarily read fantasy and also sci-fi, but sci-fi very much depends on the type of sci-fi. I am trying really hard to broaden my horizons again and read outside my comfort zone. So a lot of the time I prefer soft sci-fi. At the moment I'm reading H.G. Wells' War of the World, which really isn't my jam, but I am enjoying it enough to continue with it, and it is definitely good. I'm finding it much easier to listen to it on audiobook instead of physically reading it. So I think that is making a difference. But I'm trying to get into different genres within the genres, but mostly I read fantasy, sci-fi. I love YA. I love the tropes that come with it. I love the character descriptions that come with it. I love the stories that go along with it, the romances, the tropes, everything. I very much like YA. I am trying to get into adult fantasy and adult science fiction as well, but it is slow going and so far is limited to Brandon Sanderson, who took up my life for about 3 going on 4 years soon before I started branching out more. I am also trying to get into contemporary fiction and have read a couple of books of contemporary this year. Not as many as anyone else. I think I've read 2. I think it's literally been 2 books, but I did enjoy both of them. They were different. They're definitely not something I would normally pick up. One of them, I've seen the movie. The other one is something that I stole from my mother when I was in high school and leaving for university. So I have had it for almost a decade now, and that is really scary. So I thought maybe I should actually read it, but we'll see how my genre tastes go going forward. It will be very interesting to see in a year, 2 years, 3 years, how I would answer this question compared to now. So that's it. That's the end of my list to answer today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked some of these answers. And if you are a booktuber watching this who has any technical advice you could provide, I would very much appreciate it because I don't understand how to do much of the technical stuff. My husband is much better, but there's still some things that are tripping us up. Thank you, everyone. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you next time.